Hello, everyone, and welcome to the episode of Path to 1 Million. This is episode 62. A couple months ago, I took an online business class / marketing class, and I have to say it was probably the best $100 that I ever spent in my life. I was actually amazed at how much knowledge they crammed into that class over the period of 4 weeks, actually technically 5 weeks that the class went. But during this class, one of the things that they talked about in there, and I thought this was absolutely just, it was interesting was, and they told us at the beginning that this would happen, is that we're going to start challenging like fundamental beliefs that we had about building a business. And one of the things that they talked about in one of the classes was that what a lot of people will do is they will actually build the business, they build the infrastructure, they build everything that they need to make the business go, and then they turn around and they focus on revenue. And a lot of the times when you do that with the revenue coming through the door, it will not support the infrastructure that comes in, or the fact that if revenue comes in from a different location or a different spot than what you anticipated, you don't have the infrastructure in place, so you'll kind of have to rebuild the infrastructure. And I thought that was actually an interesting concept because I remembered like way back in the day when I first started dipping my toes into the entrepreneurial pool, that a lot of people that I know in a lot of circles that I traveled in were all entrepreneurs. And one of the things that they would do is they would go out, they would write a business plan, talk about all the stuff that they would have to buy, they would have to get. They were looking for funding. They were going out and getting credit cards, and they were buying all of the stuff, right? They didn't even have one sale, but according to the business plan that they came up with, they were going to sell all this product, and we got to have a computer, we got to hire somebody to do this and stuff, da 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 da. And so they would actually focus on building all the infrastructure for the business, and then they would turn around and try to get revenue through the door to support all this infrastructure that was in place. And I saw a lot of people fail by doing that. And I remember, because I wasn't too much into selling physical products, I was more into selling like electronic products. At that time, I was just starting to get into media. I was in process of negotiating a contract with a software company, and they were going to hire me to do some video work and do some training videos with them and stuff. And I was very excited about getting into that because it was something I was really passionate about, was creating media. And I remember that during the initial contract and negotiations and stuff, and I showed them some samples of some other work that I had built, I held off on actually building all of that business infrastructure in place. I could have went out and I could have bought a new computer, something to handle the videos. I could have went out and bought all the software that I was going to need. And we were talking like, at that time, it was like north of $1,000. And I could have went out and I could have bought all this stuff and could have rented an office space and did everything else in anticipation of building this business. But there was something inside of me that spoke to me and said, Cliff, you really should hold off on doing this until you actually win the business. So I put everything on hold, buying the new computer, buying all the software that I needed, put the whole thing on hold, went in, negotiated a contract with them. And the contract was like one of the largest I had ever negotiated at that time in my life. And it was north of $30,000, which was really cool. But then once I got that revenue into place, that's when I went out and bought all the equipment, bought the software that I was going to need, went out and hired the voiceover artist that I was going to require, hired the graphics person that I was going to need once I had that revenue through the door. So in my perspective, I thought that was interesting when they started talking about that in class, because I just know that a lot of people, when they jump into that, it's a very popular thing to do. It's almost like they want to focus on building the business without actually focusing on talking to people and figuring it out. And I think with these days, especially with the advent of the internet, if I was going to open a brick and mortar store somewhere, I'd almost be tempted to try to sell my stuff online first, because it's the cheapest and fastest way to go. That way you can work out your messaging online, what resonates with people, what are people interested in, what are they following on, etc. And then you could go ahead and open up a brick and mortar store if you wanted to have an actual physical presence somewhere for people to come in and look at your goods. Anyways, I thought that was just like a very interesting topic that really impacted the business, and especially, what it is and how I approach everything these days, focusing on, what I can do to get revenue through the door versus focusing on spending a lot of money buying a lot of product that I might not even sell. And probably another reason why I'm not a big believer in business plans either, because as soon as you create a business plan and put it out there, it's already obsolete. Thank you, Susan, for the like. Anyways, I just wanted to share that with you today. Just some thoughts that were rattling around in my head this morning. Again, it's just one of those things where oftentimes what is popular isn't right. Sometimes you have to do what is necessary. And I've just seen a lot of people, when they go off and they try to start something, they'll spend a ton of money before they've actually made any sales whatsoever. So, sometimes you have to do what is necessary versus doing what is popular. And I know sometimes that's backwards thinking because a lot of people will tell you the other way around. But sometimes you need to just ask yourself, take a step back, remove yourself from the situation and say, hey, just because everybody is thinking this way isn't the correct way to do things. So anyways, that has helped save my bacon more than once in life. So anyways, just wanted to share that with you. Just to let you know that tomorrow I will be traveling. I'm going back to the homeland, the motherland of Michigan. And so in the morning time, I know I try to get these things out about 8:30 in the morning, East Coast time. But probably about that time, I will be in the car driving down the road. So I don't know if I'll have a strong enough signal to do a live video from the car or not. But I will still be posting these things over the next few weeks, every single day. I just don't know if I can predict that it's going to be at 8:30 in the morning. So anyways, with that being said, I hope you guys have a fantastic Thursday, and I will talk to you tomorrow. See you then.